Hey everyone, welcome back to Danesthesia. In this video, I'll be showing you 7 signs and symptoms that you or someone you love might be having a heart attack. Understanding these can literally mean the difference between life and death, because we're talking about something that kills one person every 40 seconds in the United States alone. Yet hundreds of thousands of people don't even know it's happening when it happens to them. Now, before you click away thinking, whatever, I'm young, I'm fine, let me just tell you that heart attacks aren't just an old person's problem anymore. We're seeing more and more heart attacks in people under 40 than ever before, and not just the classic cigarette smokers with beer bellies. We're seeing gym goers, nurses on night shift, busy parents who barely sleep, and basically anyone living a modern life with modern stresses. And the scary part is that heart attacks don't always announce themselves with Hollywood-style chest clutching and dramatic collapses. Some people just felt off, or thought they had the flu, or indigestion, or anxiety, and then they never woke up. So today I'm breaking down the 7 early warning signs that you or someone you love might be having a heart attack, what it actually feels like, why these symptoms happen, and when it's time to drop everything and call for help. And make sure to stay tuned to the end, because I'll also go over what to do immediately if you suspect a heart attack, even before the ambulance arrives. The information in this video isn't meant to scare you, it's to educate you, because the more you know, the faster you can act, and the better your odds of walking out the doors of that hospital. Let's get into it. So what's actually happening inside your body when you're having a heart attack? Well, your heart is basically a muscle pump. Actually, it's 2 pumps side by side, about the size of your fist. It runs 24 hours a day, every day, moving blood through 60,000 miles or almost 97,000 kilometers of blood vessels. It's a muscle machine that never gets to rest. Since it's made of living muscle tissue, it needs a constant supply of fresh oxygen in order to stay alive and continue pumping. That oxygen is delivered to the heart via blood flow through the coronary arteries. The word coronary comes from the Latin corona, meaning crown-like, and you can see that these arteries encircle the heart's surface like a crown. Now imagine if one of these coronary arteries were to suddenly get blocked up. It usually happens when a fatty plaque on the inside of the artery ruptures, which triggers platelets to build up there and form a blood clot. The problem is that these arteries aren't exactly huge, so oftentimes as this blood clot is developing, it grows so big that it blocks the whole artery. That means it blocks the blood flow, which stops oxygen from reaching part of your heart muscle. Within just a few minutes, that area starts to suffocate. The cells die and your heart starts to lose its ability to pump. In medicine, we call that a myocardial infarction, aka a heart attack. And depending on where that blockage happens, it can be mild or not. So now that you know how it happens, let's talk about what it feels like. Sign number 1, chest pain. This one's the most obvious sign, but also the most misunderstood. People imagine a sharp, stabbing pain piercing through their chest, but more often than not, it's described as pressure, squeezing, or heaviness. It might feel like someone's tightening a belt around your chest or sitting on you. One of my patients once told me that it just felt like he'd swallowed something too big and it just kind of got stuck right in the middle of his chest. It took him almost an hour to realize that it wasn't just acid reflux and to call for an ambulance. By the time he got to the ER, he had already lost a good portion of his heart muscle. Sometimes the chest pain can come and go or feel worse when you're moving or anxious. If it lasts more than a few minutes or returns in waves, that's a pretty big red flag. If it feels like your chest is being squeezed by a boa constrictor, and you can't explain why, assume it's your heart unless proven otherwise. Sign number 2, radiating pain or pain that moves around. Here's where heart attacks get sneaky. The pain doesn't always stay in your chest area. It's not evil. Feel it in your arms, neck, jaw, your shoulder, your back, sometimes even your upper stomach. Why? Because the heart sends pain signals through nerves that overlap with other areas of your body. Your brain gets the message that something's wrong, but it just can't pinpoint exactly where it's coming from. It's like when your car dashboard lights up with the check engine light, but it doesn't tell you which part of the engine. I once treated a woman in her 50s who came into the ER thinking she just pulled a muscle in her back while cleaning her house. It turns out she was having a full-blown heart attack, and her only symptom was that backache. So if you feel pain radiating from your chest, or a strange kind of heaviness in your left arm or jaw, don't just tough it out. It could be your heart trying to send you a distress signal. Sign number 3, shortness of breath. Here's one that shows up even without chest pain sometimes. You might suddenly feel winded doing something really simple like walking to your car, climbing a few stairs, or even just talking with a friend. This happens because when the heart tissue is being starved of oxygen, it can't pump efficiently. So blood begins to back up and pool in your lungs, making it harder to breathe. Your brain senses that lack of oxygen, and that can trigger you to start to panic. That's why you feel breathless or like you're suffocating. People often say it feels like an elephant was sitting on my chest, or I couldn't take a full breath. So if you're suddenly gasping for air and can't explain it with exercise or anxiety, it's probably not you just instantly getting older. That's a potential emergency and it shouldn't be ignored. Sign number 4, cold sweat, nausea, or lightheadedness. These can happen whenever your body goes into full fight or flight mode. The moment your heart starts failing, your adrenal glands flood your body with adrenaline. This causes blood flow to get redirected away from non-essential systems like digestion and toward the organs that are more vital to survival. That's why you might break out in a cold, clammy sweat, get dizzy, or even feel like you're about to pass out. Sometimes people even vomit during a heart attack, which can make them think it's just like a bad stomach bug. I've seen patients brought to the ER pale as a sheet of paper, drenched in sweat, saying, "I think I have food poisoning." Well, sometimes it is, but if I see them clutching their chest or gasping for air, the first thing they're getting is oxygen and an EKG. So if you ever feel cold, sweaty, dizzy, or nauseated for no apparent reason, and there's a chance it could be cardiac related, assume it is until proven otherwise. Worst case, you get checked out and you go home. Best case, you save your own life. Sign number 5, extreme unexplained fatigue. Here's one that almost never makes the movies, but happens all the time in real life. Sometimes a heart attack doesn't start with chest pain, it starts with utter exhaustion. You wake up extremely tired, you feel off, you need to rest and catch your breath after just brushing your teeth. I'm not talking about feeling groggy in the morning because you haven't had your coffee yet. And I'm not talking about depression or laziness. I'm talking about extreme unexplained fatigue, the kind that makes getting out of bed feel like running a marathon. This symptom in particular affects women more than men. In fact, studies show that over 70% of women report unusual fatigue in the days or weeks leading up to their heart attack. If your heart is in trouble and really struggling to keep the blood flowing when you're laying in bed not doing anything, then just making a phone call or reaching for a glass of water might be the equivalent of climbing a mountain to a healthy heart. So if your body suddenly feels like it's running on empty for no reason, even after resting, or if routine tasks like showering or cooking suddenly feel like you're pedaling a bicycle uphill, that's worth paying attention to. Sign number 6, indigestion or stomach pain. This one is really tricky and unfortunately fools a lot of people. Heart attack pain can sometimes mimic heartburn so well that people take antacids while their heart tissue is dying. Here's how to tell the difference. Heartburn usually comes after eating and gets better with antacids. Heart-related pain can appear anytime and usually worsens with exertion. Let's talk about the differences between these two things. Heartburn happens when the hydrochloric acid in your stomach comes up into the esophagus. The cells lining your stomach walls are made to handle that acidic environment, but the cells lining your esophagus aren't. That's why it burns, just like if I poured hydrochloric acid on your arm. When you take an antacid, it neutralizes the acidity. Thus, the pain will usually go away sooner or later. The pain from a heart attack comes from the cardiac tissue being starved of oxygen. When you exert yourself, the muscles you use require more oxygen. That's why your heart rate goes up and your breathing rate increases, like when you go for a run. But your heart is also a muscle, and it's working harder now, but it can't get any more oxygen because the arteries are blocked. That's why the pain from a heart attack gets worse with exertion. You're trying to get it to work harder while you're starving it of oxygen at the same time. The moral of the story is, if your heartburn comes with sweating and shortness of breath, or it just feels different from your usual, like taco regret, you might want to get it checked out. Finally, sign number 7, a sense of impending doom. This one sounds dramatic, but it's actually a real thing. Some patients describe a sudden, overwhelming feeling that something is very wrong. It's not just fear, it's a physiological signal from your brain responding to distress in your body. During a heart attack, adrenaline surges, oxygen levels drop, and your brain interprets that as a primal danger signal. That's why some people describe the feeling by saying, "I knew I was dying," before anything else happened. If that ever happens to you, if you suddenly feel this "I think I'm dying" feeling, especially with other symptoms, listen to it. It may not just be anxiety. It could be your heart trying to tell you something very important. Okay, so let's say you're having some of these symptoms. Here are the 5 things you need to do right away. Number 1, call emergency services immediately. Don't drive yourself to a friend's house, don't Google it, and don't just wait it out. The longer you wait, the more heart muscle dies. It's really that simple. Number 2, unless you're allergic, chew an aspirin. Aspirin helps to prevent more blood clots from forming, and chewing it breaks it up and helps it absorb faster. Number 3, unlock your door. You'd be surprised how often paramedics have to break into people's homes because someone collapsed behind a locked door. Number 4, sit down and stay calm. The more you panic and run around your house, the harder you're making your heart work, and that's only going to make things worse. Try to sit down, take some nice deep breaths, and stay on the line with emergency services. And number 5, don't try to be a hero. This is definitely not the time to try and tough it out. You can't tough out a heart attack, you can only outlive it. Remember, it's always better to be wrong at the ER than dead at home. Heart attacks aren't always big, loud, dramatic events. Sometimes they're sneaky and they whisper at you through fatigue, through nausea, through weird pain in your neck or jaw, a sweaty stomachache, or any combination of the 7 signs I discussed here today. If you listen early, you live longer. So remember the 7 signs: chest discomfort, radiating pain, shortness of breath, cold sweat or dizziness, unusual fatigue, indigestion or stomach pain, and the sense of impending doom. If you've had any of these symptoms recently, please don't shrug them off. Talk to your doctor and go get checked out. In medicine, we can fix a lot of things, but we can't fix dead. Thanks for watching, guys. Please help this video reach more people who might need it by clicking the like button. And if you're new here, consider subscribing to Danesthesia, where we talk about what really happens inside your body, the weird things we see in medicine, and how to keep yourself alive while laughing just a little bit along the way. I mean, this video wasn't that funny, but some of the other ones are, at least a little bit. Anyway, take care of your heart, because it's the only one you've got. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.